Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're looking at Jeremiah chapter 18.
A really significant one.
It is. And it starts with this instruction that's just so visual. God tells Jeremiah, go down to the potter's house.
Yeah, you can almost picture it, can't you? The sounds, the smell of the clay, the potter at the wheel. Jeremiah is just there watching.
Watching this craftsman shape the clay.
Yeah.
And the text gives us this specific detail. As the potter is working, the pot he's making gets marred in his hands.
Right. Something goes wrong. The clay doesn't quite, cooperate.
It doesn't form perfectly, but the potter's reaction is, I think, really the point here.
Definitely. He doesn't just get frustrated and chuck it.
No, exactly. He takes that same clay, the marred lump, and he starts over. He makes it into another pot.
Reshaping it, making it into something different, something the text says seemed best to him. He sees the potential still there in the material.
And boom, right away, the Lord connects this image to his relationship with Israel. It's immediate.
He asks that question, can I not do with you as this potter does? It hits hard.
Yeah, it does. Like clay in the hand of the potter. So are you in my hand, O house of Israel? That's the core metaphor, isn't it?
Absolutely. It establishes God's sovereignty, his power to shape, but also maybe hints at the process things can get marred, things might need reshaping.
It really sets the stage for what comes next, this interaction between God's plans and, well, human choices.
Yeah, the clay is in his hand, but how the final piece turns out, there seems to be some dynamic involved.
So building right off that image, God gives Jeremiah this message. It lays out a couple of scenarios, conditional scenario.
Right. Regarding nations, kingdoms, the first one starts pretty heavy. God says he might announce plans to, uproot, tear down, destroy a nation.
Sounds pretty final, like Judgment Day.
It does sound that way. But then comes the condition, the if. If that nation, the one facing destruction, turns back.
Repents.
Exactly. If it repents of its evil after hearing the warning, then God says he'll relent. He won't bring about the disaster he planned.
Wow. So the plan, even for disaster, isn't set in stone. It responds to repentance.
That's a huge point here. Repentance can actually change the declared outcome. It's conditional. Human response matters deeply.
Okay, so what's the other side of that coin? What if God announces something good? Like he plans to build up and plant a nation.
A plan for blessing, for prosperity, but again, it's conditional. If that nation, the one promised good things, then turns around.
Does evil, disobeys.
Precisely. If it does evil in my sight and does not obey me, God says he will reconsider the good that I had intended to do for it.
So it cuts both ways. Repentance can stop disaster, but doing evil can stop blessing.
That's it. It's not just about dodging punishment. It's about staying in line with God's good intentions too. You can forfeit the good just as you can avert the bad.
So the big takeaway for you, the listener, is just how dynamic this relationship is shown to be. God's plans aren't like some, unchangeable fate.
Right. They're interactive. They depend on how people, how nations respond. Repentance or evil, those choices directly affect the outcome. Like the potter working with clay that might resist or yield.
And then this whole principle gets brought right home. Jeremiah is told, okay, take this message directly to the people of Judah, to everyone in Jerusalem.
No more hypotheticals. This is for them right now, and the message is blunt. Look, I am preparing a disaster for you and devising a plan against you.
So they're currently in that first scenario, disaster announced.
Yes. Which means the offer, the condition, is also right there for them.
The call to action. So turn from your evil ways, each one of you, and reform your ways and your actions. It's the if applied directly to them. Wow. Turn back, change things.
It's the lifeline. Repentance is offered as the way out of the planned disaster.
But then the text tells us their predicted answer.
Yeah.
And it's rough.
Yeah, it's incredibly disheartening. It says, but they will reply, it's no use.
It's no use, just like that.
And they follow up. We will continue with our own plans. Each of us will follow the stubbornness of his evil heart.
That phrase, it's no use, really says so much about where they are mentally, doesn't it? It's like this deep resistance, maybe fatalism, or just sheer unwillingness to listen.
And they explicitly choose their own plans over God's warning, driven by, as the text puts it, the stubbornness of his evil heart. It's a deliberate choice.
It's the complete opposite of the potter and clay image, isn't it? The clay is supposed to be workable.
Exactly. They're choosing to be rigid, hard, resistant to the potter's hand trying to reshape them. They're stuck in their own way.
And this response, this stubborn refusal, it leads to this moment where the Lord expresses almost shock. Astonishment at Judah, who he calls virgin Israel.
Yeah, he asks this rhetorical question, who has ever heard anything like this? A most horrible thing has been done by Virgin Israel. It conveys deep disappointment.
And then he uses nature to contrast their behavior. He says, essentially, does the snow on Mount Lebanon just disappear for no reason? Do the cool streams just stop flowing?
The point being that nature is reliable, consistent, it follows its course. Snow melts, sure, but the source of the water, the mountain snowpack, is dependable.
Unlike them.
Unlike them. He says they've done the opposite. He names the core problems. They have forgotten me.
Forgotten the source.
Right, and they burn incense to worthless idols, chasing after emptiness, things with no real value or power instead of the source.
And these core sins, forgetting God, choosing idols, what did they lead to?
The text says it made them stumble in their ways, like tripping up, losing their balance and direction.
Which caused them to leave the right road.
Yes, they abandoned the ancient paths, the established, proven ways, and wandered off onto bypaths and on roads not built up. Basically, unsteady, unmade, dangerous trails of their own making.
Choosing the unreliable path after forgetting the reliable source.
Yeah.
So, given that choice, that stubbornness, what are the consequences laid out?
They're severe. The land itself will suffer. It'll be laid waste, an object of lasting scorn, total devastation leading to public shame.
People passing by will be shocked.
Yeah. All who pass by will be appalled and will shake their heads. Just complete ruin. And the people themselves... Scattered. Like a wind from the east, I will scatter them before their enemies. Dispersed, vulnerable, no strength against attack.
And then that really chilling line about God's response in their time of crisis.
That's maybe the harshest part. I will show them my back and not my face in the day of their disaster.
Total abandonment. Turning away from them just as they turned away from him. Oof.
Exactly. No help, no presence when they desperately need it, because they initiated the turning away.
So after all this, the potter, the conditions, the warning, the rejection, the consequences, the chapter takes this really sharp turn, right?
Yeah, it pivots dramatically. It becomes very personal, focusing on Jeremiah himself.
The messenger is now in the firing line. We see the people's reaction to him.
And it's hostile. They're plotting against him. The text quotes them. Come, let's make plans against Jeremiah.
And their justification is just, wow. They basically say, we don't need him. We've got the law, we've got wise counselors, other prophets.
Yeah.
Teaching won't be lost just because of him.
It's a way to diminish him, isn't it? To say his specific message, the hard one he's bringing from God right now, isn't essential. They can pick and choose their sources.
So they decide, come, let's attack him with our tongues and pay no attention to anything he says. Slander him and ignore him.
Vicious. And faced with this direct attack, this personal rejection, Jeremiah turns to God and his prayer.
Something else. It's incredibly raw, isn't it? Full of emotion.
He starts by just crying out, listen to me, O Lord, hear what my accusers are saying. Like, God, are you seeing this?
And then he hits that core question, born from betrayal.
Yeah.
Should good be repaid with evil?
Which is so powerful because he immediately reminds God and us. I stood before you and spoke in their behalf to turn your wrath away from them.
He prayed for them before, he tried to help them, and this is how they repay him.
That sense of injustice fuels what comes next. His requests are intense. He asks God to let famine take their children, let the sword take them.
It gets darker.
Wow.
Make their wives childless, widows. Let their men, young and old, die in battle.
Let cries of terror erupt from their houses when invaders come suddenly. And he justifies it to God because they have dug a pit to capture me and have hidden snares for my feet.
They weren't just disagreeing, they were actively trying to trap him, to destroy him.
Yeah. So his final plea is just absolute. He knows they want to kill him. He asks God, essentially, don't forgive them. Do not forgive their crimes or blot out their sins from your sight.
Wow.
Let them be overthrown. Deal with them in your anger. It's a complete reversal from his earlier intercession.
It really shows the human cost, the agony of being the messenger when the message is rejected so violently.
Absolutely. The pain, the feeling of betrayal, the demand for justice, it's all there. It adds this deeply human, almost jarring layer to the chapter's grand themes.
So, yeah, Jeremiah 18 takes you on quite a ride. From that powerful potter image, God's sovereignty, and also potential.
Through the whole conditional nature of God's plans, how they respond to human choice, repentance, or stubbornness.
Then the specific warning to Judah, their tragic refusal, it's no use, and the grim consequences.
And ending with Jeremiah's own intense personal struggle and that raw prayer for justice.
It really weaves together the huge theological ideas with the messy, difficult reality of human nature and prophetic ministry.
It's complex, isn't it? You have this God who is willing to relent, to reshape right alongside this prophet crying out for judgment because the people refuse to be reshaped. It doesn't offer easy answers.
It leaves you thinking about that potter and clay again. The potential is there. The power to reshape is there.
But what happens when the clay, so to speak, actively resists? When it insists on its own marred state, its own plans, thinking about Judah's response, it's no use, we'll follow our own stubborn hearts. How does that contrast resonate with you today? What does it take for genuine reshaping to happen, not just by the potter's hand, but maybe also through our own willingness to yield even when we feel broken or flawed?
A challenging thought to end on, something for you to consider.